Good morning and welcome. I hope everyone is fine. My name is Dr. Nancy Miles Balfour GMP. This is our post-election lecture. And so in 2024, I hope that it's beneficial to the many of you as you prepare for your interim assessment next week. We're going to quickly go through the course outline as at the middle of the semester to help us know where we have reached. But I want us to address the substantive things. Then when we are ending, I will take you through the course outline, and then I think that afterwards we can repost what was removed from Sakai when there was a change of when was the upgrade. Okay, so this is main campus content, but I think it's still useful to city campus and even your senior senior colleagues who may find it useful for their revisions, even in the upper years. Now, what did we do in the course? We've done so many. I don't even know where we should start, but we'll start from somewhere. Let's start from the most recent discussion on mind-body problem, where we'll mop up. Mopping up means we'll fill in some few gaps that we still have, and then we will trace our way back to the question of free will versus determinism, okay? So I want us to do the mind-body problem. I just hope I can find it quickly. Let's see, yeah, there it is. So I'll project that. What is the problem of mind and body? Simple. We discussed that. I want you to be confident, so I will touch on them. It is just to know two things. In this presentation on mind-body problem, I helped you to do two main things. To know what the source of the problem of mind and body is, and also to know how attempts have been made to deal with that problem, and whether people were able to deal with it. Deal meaning they were able to clear off the problem, or as always, it became a philosophical problem, meaning it couldn't have a resolution. That is why it's still there. So you can have different perspectives to how to deal with the problem, and it still hasn't disappeared. It's like the problem of God. Different versions, even within one scripture, you can see how many versions of the deity and the nature of God. Some are theists, some are deists, some are atheists, some are nihilists. I always tell my students that we are doing it in level 400. I said, the atheist is still very religious if you look at it critically as a philosophical mind. He's still a religious person. The only thing is that what he worships is nothing. See, the atheist's God is what? Nothing. He says nothing exists. So his God, maybe your God is Allah if you're a Muslim. Maybe your God is Unyame if you are Unyankopon, if you are Nakan. Maybe you are Mau Lulu. That is if you are never Oludumare, and so on and so forth. You have a name. The atheist God is nothing. So he's very religious. If you're a philosophical mind and you're doing your analysis well, nobody is working on it without a religion. The one that says nothing exists worships nothing, or reveres nothingness. He reveres and honors and values and cherishes and defends nothingness. And so we are going to see problems like that. That is why the notion of God or deity or ultimate cause of all things is a problem. Now, the cause philosophical problems looks at things like that. Someone will say, but that one will it buy bread and butter? We have already learned from level 100, and we keep reminding ourselves how these issues have implications. Did you see the elections of Ghana? It is politics. But see how much influence certain assumptions came into it. It told a religious line a bit. Unfortunately, it was very unfortunate. Then it went into a bit of, God says. When I say the religious, these people belong to what we do, so join, and these people don't belong. Before we knew it, it was God told me to. So now, which God was saying what? Because it looks like that God has said different things to different people. If it was the same God, Could it be that, like I told my son, don't go out after 6, and then the next minute it's 6:10, but it is raining and my things are on the line. And then perhaps I told the second one, hey, quickly open the door and move the things. He said, Mommy, but you said we shouldn't go out. I said, go. So it looks as if perhaps it suggests that there might have been a change. But that God, we are told, if it's the same God, if a big if, does not change his mind. And yet that same God in that scripture says, and it repented God that he created man. God repented for creating man. Listen, these are problems, not problems as in they are not negotiable, but we can't pretend that they are not there. Our inability to be able to resolve them doesn't make them any less a problem. They are there. Sometimes our inability to conclusively claim that we have cleared it is a sign that there are still what unanswered questions. This is the posture of a philosopher, an inquiring mind, open-minded, because this has implications for the law court. The reason why the law or the judge or the lawyer would want to have to be a person of integrity and administer fairly is because one day God will punish, God will recompense. There will be a day of reckoning. It has implications. We are doing that in level 400. Perhaps you are not even religious. I've said that, but who is a non-religious person? The one who says there is no God or doesn't have any organized, faith that they adhere to, they are still religious by analysis. They worship nothing less. Choosing not to choose is a choice. Okay, so if those elaborations help you, I said your economics, your business will be influenced by your faith. Look at how far-fetched they are, but they are connected. If you can hit the kunku, the ununka, kunku, the under, the measuring can, and measure the gari and say, well, I've measured 5 whatever kilograms. When you know that you have hit it so down inside there that what is inside the thing really is 3 kilograms, it is a problem of what? Ethics. Your ethical view is what needs help, which has influence of sorts with what you believe in and what you do. Your reality, your metaphysics will influence your your metaphysics, your notion of reality, what exists, who you feel accountable to. Is there life after death? One day, if I have to stand before those ones can affect your ethics. It can also, therefore, affect what you think you can know. We leave it in God's hands. Why? Because you have done all the search. You can't find the source of this ailment that is eating you up. You see, you might now start pointing at perhaps there is a sun behind it or whatever. So your epistemology, your ethics, your metaphysics, your social and political philosophizing, why must there be no offending slavery or colonialism? Because you feel that undermines the dignity of the human person. Defined by who? God made man in his image. Someone will appeal to that. Someone will say, no. You and I, you're a human being like me. Even if it's not a God factor, would you like it if I did that to you? Morality. So international relations, which are it seems like these are practical, are all influenced by such philosophical groundings. Okay. And that is why when we find problems like that, we want to engage them, even if we don't get a resolution. We will not say there is no God or we will not worship God because we are unable to answer all that there is about him. Maybe we will be more tolerant, for example, when we realize that God may answer by fire when he is dealing with Elijah for that time and season. But another time, he will descend like a dove. The same God. You see, one time he's angry because the person didn't kill all the people that he instructed him to go and kill. So the next minute, he is so forgiving that even the killer who was killed, taking someone's wife, killed the person by making the person commit suicide. I've given you all those things. David, taking the person's wife. Now that guy, David, rather becomes a man after his own heart. Is God unfair? Or we may not have finished understanding him. That is the nature of philosophical questions. We get to see perspectives to that issue, that problem, seemingly, which may help for coexistence. Do you know that Solomon, rather, what's the name? Solomon, yeah, became the next person to inherit David. When the legitimate, quote and unquote, legitimate in quote, sons, that is why they couldn't come to terms with it. Adonijah and others. I gave scenarios that are very close to our hearts because I want to show you why we call them problems. They are problematic. Being problems doesn't mean they can't be negotiated. The only thing is that you can't have a finality, a conclusive approach to it. Last time after class, one of you, I don't know whether it was main campus or I think it will be main campus, came to me and said, Doc, so that one too, people don't agree with it. I think Locke's view or something. So now which one do they want us to do? I said, why are you asking for which one? It's not mathematics here, do you know? It is in maths that we can say square root of 25 is 5. There can't be any other answer. Even that, if you look at it closely, square root of 25, which is 5, is the same as square root of 25 is 4 plus 1, which is the same as 5 times 1, or 6 minus 1, or 7 minus 2. We'll be saying the same thing, just in different ways. And so there might be a closed system like mathematics or some other disciplines where you have exact, straightforward, conclusively universalized answer. That is not philosophy. Especially when we are doing philosophical questions, you are always looking for what? Argued responses. And that is how your essays are always marked. Your ability to show us what you think about a view, why you think what you think, why, see, and why you think the other person's view about it may not be defensible. Look at my choice of language. Either you find an internal inconsistency, or you find that the thing doesn't do what it says it will do. So that view says, oh, it makes God all loving, or it makes morality so and so, or something. And then we ask you, but look, it didn't do that. You show it. It is always how you present evidence to support your claim. That's why we say it's a normative study. It's not a descriptive study. You are not coming to tell us what is there. You are reflecting on what is there, analyzing, breaking it down. That's what it means. Exploring, working it out for us to see. So last week's discussion in class during the presentations were explorations. Tell us, when you read around psychophysical parallelism, what did it show? You see Joel's questions this morning, pointing to intro and moja, and he wants to know, are they connected? Last time he asked me the Freud one. I said, it's fine, they're all fine, but they're not directly focused for this one. Think of the ego. And then that's psychology. So those of you doing psychology can explore it further. Our focus there was only to know so and so and so. It's a skill we're developing you in this course. Okay, so the main question for mind and body, now you see it on your screen, is why does that problem, okay, what is that problem of mind and body? On your screen now, we have done it, so I'm just walking you through. Is the question or the problem of knowing how it is that two essentially distinct realities are causally connected. It's not just influencing, but it is a matter of causation, cause. The word causality, which we met in free will versus determinism, is still here. Causality, cause. It gave birth to it, it brought it about. How is it that mind and body, how are two essentially distinct essence, the essence of a thing, that which makes the thing what it is, without which it will cease to be what it is, essence, not accidentals. How is it that two essentially distinct realities are causally connected? 3 steps. So when you claim that one, there are two realities. 2, those two realities are essentially distinct. If you just say there are two realities, it doesn't create the mind-body problem, because those realities may be ultimately the same. And I use the rice and the yam example for you to see that nutrient-wise, they are the same. They are all carbohydrates that we reduce to sugars or glucose. It's just the presentation that is different. So they may look different on the plate. They are essentially the same. What is that? Yam, boiled yam, and banku without the soup sitting on your table. They are essentially the same. Here, the mind-body problem hasn't said that. It is saying that there are two realities which are essentially distinct. Yet, at the same time, that's the third condition, they are causally connected, says those who hold on to the official doctrine, which gives rise to the problem of mind and body. Okay, so I could ask you to state those three assumptions that give rise to the mind-body problem from our discussion. One, that there are two realities. Two, that those two realities are essentially distinct, one from each other, one from the other, I mean. And yet three, they are causally connected. If you hold on to these three assumptions, you will create the mind-body problem, which has been described as what? The problem of dualism, which has been described as official doctrine, is what is giving rise to the mind-body problem. So it is coming from René Descartes on your screen now. You see the connection now. So a name and a face that prominently pushes out when we are talking about the mind-body problem is René Descartes. It's a religious thing, but Descartes put it in the philosophical discourse during his modern philosophizing. You know, we call him the father of modern philosophy, because most of the modern here is used in context. When you advance, you understand. So ancient philosophy, but the modern one, he's seen as the one that sparks modern philosophizing. Okay, so he formalizes that problem very well in philosophy. I want to move on. So no, the official doctrine is the claim that there are two realities. Ultimately, those two realities are essentially distinct from each other. And yet, the third point, they are causally connected. Okay, these three assumptions is what the official doctrine holds on to. And that creates the problem of mind and body. What is that problem? How are these two ultimate realities causally connected? Okay, so when you bring the how into it, then you are asking the question to show that there's a problem. When you make those three assumptions, you are holding on to the official doctrine. And we went through the instances of what? Distinction between what one might call a mental state and a physical state to show that, according to the official doctrine, Descartes and folks, religious folks like you and I, excuse me, there are aspects. Of course, you can have a physicalist religious person. Don't get me wrong. You can have a religious person that thinks that essentially things are material. I don't know how their religion will be. Maybe the atheistic one or something. So there isn't anything beyond the physical. Everything is physically explainable, including the concept of God. Something God is in you. You are God and I'm God. So we are physical beings. Okay, in that sense of it. But back to where we were. So these folks give some characteristics that distinguishes mind from body and body from mind. What are they? You see on your screen that mental state, a state of being, mental, or mental phenomena, the one they are calling mental phenomena, are private. So like pain. This is coming from Cartesian thinkers. Pain, like anxiety, like the feeling of pain. Keep looking on your screen. So I think one of the semesters I gave you John Searle's paper. You may, if you Google, you just find it. It's not anything to this semester's topics. You can tell they are accessible seminal texts, easy to get. You don't have to do any compilation for you. Look on your screen now, though the references are there for you. So subjectivity. I'm a subject and you are a subject. My subjectivity seems private to me. Private. You can't have access to my being. You can indirectly see me sitting there, but you can't exist my existence for me. I like to tell my students that my feeling hungry cannot be done by you. We may all be feeling hungry, but the feeling of hunger is mine, and your feeling of hunger is yours. If we all hit our legs against the table, we may all be feeling the pain of hitting our legs against the table, but my feeling of the pain is not your feeling of the pain. So there's privacy, seemingly, says the official doctrine proponent. There's privacy, which underwrites what? Mind, mental. Think of mind as what? Soul or spiritual. So there are two ultimate realities, the spiritual and the physical, says the dualists. This kind of dualism, there's a dualism that doesn't think physical and spiritual are distinct. They think that one can be reduced into the other. That is where the materialist and the idealist come in. We'll get there shortly. Okay. These people saying that these are entities, two distinct, essentially distinct entities. So privacy for mind, public for body. Mind is, let me see if my class is there, because I've been doing the talking all this while. And I think you're well comported. Keep it up. But now answer a chorus answer. Look on your screen. So for extension, which is extended, mind or body? I want a chorus answer. So you can unmute. Which one is extended?
Body.
Body. Very good.
Body.
Very good.
Body.
Very good. So if you remember Descartes,
The body.
whereas
Body.
everybody has done well. Whereas thank you. Whereas for Descartes, the essence of mind is thinking or consciousness. Thinking, thought. If you remember, I think, therefore I am. The essence of body is extension. That it occupies space. Matter, material. Matter is anything that has weight and can occupy space. So material substance occupies space. That is its essence. If it is material, it must occupy space. It must have extension. If it is mental, it must have thought or consciousness. Okay. Now, these two don't coincide, yet they are causally connected. Wow, that's the problem of mind and body. So not just extension. Now, still looking on your screen, which is corporal, mind or body?
Body.
Very good, body. Again,
Body.
so that if I say exactly, so if I say state and explain any three distinctions made between mind and body by the official doctrine subscribers or the proponent of official doctrine, this can be a fine question. Very easy. Maybe I can restrict you so that you don't write everything in the EC's thing that she's still, as the EC announced the winner yet. Anybody
No,
knows?
please. Not yet, please.
I think she's writing a judgment.
Not
so
yet.
we patiently, okay. We patiently wait. Don't write any long essay. When I restrict you to a page, I mean it. When I say don't write less than a page and you write 3 lines, you get 3 over 30. Why? We need to help ourselves as critical minds to be obedient to simple instructions. Where there's an ambiguity in the question or something, ask. There might not be, but maybe you're reading ambiguity, ask. But don't do like, oh, they said 388, don't exceed 500 words. Then people will exceed it. Critical thinking, yes. Then they will send a message. Please, I exceeded it by 3 words. I hope it won't matter. If you hope it won't matter, why are you coming to ask me? Hope, keep hoping. Just obey. What would the 3 words do? People don't like simple obedience. Hey, Joel, you're laughing at your face. People like simple obedience. What you go and disobey when you go to bank? I always ask that, and they give you the pin for your ATM, or you create the pin yourself. 4 words, 1131. Now you go to the ATM to go and use the card. They say, "Oh, I will do it 3111." After it's the same numbers. Will the money come? I want a chorus answer.
No, please.
No.
Is it like it come?
No,
It
no,
will come.
please.
You understand?
No, please.
Can we can't hear you again. Why is doctor off the platform?
All right. Hello, everyone. You can hear me again now, right?
Yes, Doc.
Yes,
Yes,
I think
please.
I think it's a data thing
Yes,
for the other. Yes, so I will reach out on that. I'm using my phone's hotspot now. But let's continue. I was just giving you an advice that I think will be helpful to most of you. Keep to the rules. That's all. Okay. Keep to simple rules that you are giving when you have any if it won't kill you, just obey for your own sake. So imagine I gave you that something like that kind of a question, and you are supposed to answer it in not more than a paragraph of 3 lines. If I say three statements is not the same as 3 lines. You see the difference. Statement could be long, but sometimes when people want to write plenty, then they won't put comma, no punctuation. That they keep writing. I know a statement, even if you don't put, even if you don't put the punctuation. So I can put punctuation, then tell if you've exceeded. Anyways, so it can be a nice question I can ask you, okay, that using, you know, identifying three different, what's the thing, three distinctions between mind and body, explain using a scenario or something, or maybe 8 marks. You should be able to do that easily. Where mind is private, show it. Body is public. I can touch your body. I can't touch your your mental state. I can touch your bodily state, heat. So if I turn the thermometer on, I touch you, I can feel your body is warm or cold. Is this water warm enough for bathing? I can splash it because it's a physical thing. That's why it has extension. It can occupy space, material. See that? I hope clarity has come, and therefore it's extended. That's all. These are body. Mind is incorporeal, non-extended, at least in private. So it is not locatable in space and time. How do I say? It's not restricted to space. That's why mind doesn't have extension. You can't grab it and put it into a room because it doesn't occupy space. Your mind can go to America and come. We have done all that already. So there's subjectivity, intentionality, consciousness, causation. I think that one we have to look at it a bit more. Somebody hesitated. Then scenarios to help you see that. What are we doing so far? We are revising. It's not a new lecture. And mopping up nicely, okay, to connect it. And we are starting from the bottom to the top, where we reached recently to what we have done in the past, because most of the things we've done in the past, we have overly beating it up. Then I'll conclude with the course outline, which I see that people keep asking. It was posted earlier. We just had to change the arrangement a bit where we set off to be accommodating of the real challenge of having to deal with mind body problem from start. It would have been very tough for you because of the nature of the content. You couldn't access Akai. So I had to shift it, and then we did the ones that are easily readable and accessible for starters. So we did free will versus determinism first, and we built from there. Okay, on your screen now, may I have one of you read? If you could just raise your hand to read for me. the responses that have been given to the mind-body problem. Very good. I see several hands up, so I want to choose now. Farida, you can do as the reading. Afterwards, Japasu, Elikem will read next, and then Sandra and Messi Habo, that of the Frankamano. Let's get Farida now. You are muted, please, so you will have to unmute first. Farida, you will have to unmute first. You're not able to. Let's take Elikem, Japasu. Elikem, go ahead. Hey, have I disabled your microphones? I haven't. Oh.
No, please.
Yes, Elikem Jakpasu, your hand is up. Please unmute. Unmute before reading.
Okay.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Responses. Madam, please, can you hear me? Madam, please, can you hear me?
Now I can hear you. I can hear you now. Go ahead.
Okay. Responses. Interactionism. Descartes. Occasionalism. Mel Branch. Pre-established harmony. Leibniz. Double aspect theory.
I'll beat you
Spinoza.
up. Go ahead. What did you say? We will laugh at you. I'll put the recording on my channel. People will hear say, hey, Sister B, see Lebanese. Go on. Yes.
Okay. Double aspect theory. Spinoza. Idealism. Berkeley. Materialism. Thomas Hobbes. Functionalist disposition theorists. Category mistake.
Very good.
Linguistic problem. Ryle Gilbert.
Betural.
Okay. Please, I'm done.
Right. I'm trying to get back on my Wi-Fi off my hotspot so that we don't have interruptions again. So we'll do it small. Madam read the various responses given to the problem of mind and body. Am I audible, please? Can you hear?
Yes, please. Yes, please.
Thank you very much.
Yes,
Now,
please.
thank you all. This is an easy way to engage. Look at the way I summarize the various responses given to the mind and body problem on your screen. It tells you immediately that René Descartes himself gave a response to that problem. Okay. Descartes himself gave a response to the problem of mind and body. He says that when we are asking him, how do mind and body causally affect each other? His answer is, oh, they interact in the pineal gland. Remember Kwame Jechi's account concept of a person that we looked at, and the similarities we found or we detected in their views, in the Western thoughts of the concept of a person according to Descartes, and the 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 one according to Western thoughts. Let's recap that quickly, then come back to the response given by Rene Descartes. Okay, what are the things we found common to Jechi and Descartes on the concept of a person? If you still want me to call, let me lower all the hands. I think that is a better way to proceed. So that if another hand goes up, then I can know that the person wants to react. It can be one of your IE questions. See, it can be a question I'll ask. Identify any three divergences or convergences between the Cartesian concept of person and what's the other one? And Akan concept of a person according to Kwame Jechi. You should be able to. I see only two hands up. Only one hand now. Okay, I see Frank Amano. Frank hasn't spoken today. Frank, go ahead. And my TAs there, please, when they react, kindly make a note of their effort for the files. Frank, go ahead.
Hello, Doc. Please, can you hear me?
I can hear you excellently.
Yeah. All right. So the similarities between Descartes and Jechi says both of them are dualists.
Very good.
And then they say the soul is lodged in the head. That's both
Very
of
good.
them.
Yeah.
And then there is interactional relation between
very
the
good.
mind
Excellent.
and
Frank.
the body.
You never disappoint. That's my classroom. You never disappoint. Well done. I saw Joel's hand as well. I know Joel was on my neck about it in class, so I knew that if I called you, will answer that as well. Well done, everyone. So if you forgot, your colleagues just reminded you. The two subscribe to an interactionist view of, of the concept. You're laughing. It's on my neck about it. He kept asking, Doc, so are you saying that this? I say yes. That's what I'm saying. Anyways, so they both subscribe to interactionism. It means that they both agree that mind causally affects body or matter, and matter also causally affects mind. It goes both ways. Now that you have done epiphenomenalism in class and you did a beautiful job on that, I told you to campus test. We are going to do this coming Wednesday, coming Thursday. Both groups did very well. So the group work already has earned most of you your 10 marks on file. Those who did extra work have some 2 or 1 mark or 3 marks addition on my files for me to do my something when I'm grading your essays. They are earned marks for you, see. But epiphenomenalism goes one way and not the other way. Some deny that there are even duality. Others think there's a duality, but not essentially distinct. Something is a programmed correlation, simultaneous act. Yours questions helped you remember that. Okay. Others think, no. There is ultimately one reality, not two. That reality is mind. Then that would be the materialist. Look on your screen. Hey, that reality is mind. I'm sorry. Then that would be the idealist. Idea, mental. Whilst if another person, no, that reality is only one, but that reality is matter. Then that is what materialist. These think that there is only one reality, not two. So where are we? We are here. Look at your screen. Descartes and Jechi, one from Western thought, the other from, if you get me water, the other from, apologies, guys. One from Western thought, the other from Akan thought. Yet they seem to coincide. And your friend mentioned all the three. They both think that the so-called or the claimed causal connection occurs somewhere in the head region, the head, Utibwa. You should be able to show what it is. Akan thoughts, Akan language that makes Jechi suggest that the connection between mind and body may have something to do with the head. He mentions that. We did all that also in class. Tibwa. the animal in your head is condemning you. It means the moving part of you, the part of you that is accountable for life, living. When you are dead, you are stable, you are lying there. Nothing will move you. So there is the life-giving part of you, which is accountable for growth, for living, for breath, etc. You see the way we are revising the chief. That part of you is the animal, the moving part. So the animal inside your head, or your head without that life-giving part of it is dead. That's separation. Now, why the animal in your head? And I jokingly said it the last time, but why not the animal in your armpit? Or the animal on your thighs? That suggests that there is something about the head region accountable for the connection between the dead body and the life-giving spirit. Soul and body have some connection, so to speak, somewhere in the head. That's an example. So tibuabu for the animal in your head has condemned. There's also uti. You're fortunate, fortune, destiny. It's not fortune. Fortune is not what you do, it's what you are. You are given. So the part of you that is, according to account ontology, accountable for your what? Destiny, the bearer of your destiny. It's not your body. It is the non-physical, immaterial part of you, which the chief would want to also call the spiritual part of you. Sun Sum and Okra mixed together is the spiritual, immaterial part of you, is the one we describe when we say you are lucky, fortunate. And we say it in tree, Akan as what? Utiye. Your head is good, literally. Why your head is good? Why not your fingernails are good? To represent the same thing. The chief says because there seems to be something about the head region that accounts for the connection, between mind and body. Now, Descartes is explicit. The chief thinks account thought is not explicit. You just can tease it out from the language. But in Cartesian philosophy, is explicit. He states it. It is in the pineal gland. That pineal gland is in the head region, the innermost part of the brain. So that seems to be something that is similar, just like the interactionism, just like the dualist, conception, which we needed to revise. It could be a very good eye question. We don't know which one will come to you. and and so just know, if we have learned it, then it will come in the eye. Now, your friend Frank has done that, and so we can move on. The interactionism of Descartes is what we have seen there. Now, he just shows us where it happens. He doesn't show us how the interaction occurs, which is what the heartbeat of the problem is. The problem is how are the two, how? And yet then he said, at the physical, it will be what? At the spiritual. How does it happen? It's not where does it happen. So his interactionism, this is the criticism against Descartes. His interactionism only shows us where the thing happens. We are not interested in where. Because that one you can create it. You can suggest it. We want to know how it is that you claim that they are causally connected, when in fact they are two essentially distinct realities. Okoto on one, the animal, the bird doesn't beget a crab, and vice versa. So if you say they are so diametrically opposed, how did one give birth to the other? And they share nothing in common. That is the problem, which he hasn't answered. We criticize him. Okay, now I can trot. So keep looking at your screen. When I say trot, I'm going to double up because most of the things you've done. Look at Malebranche. He's a French guy. Malebranche. Some say Malebranche. It's occasionalism. That's what Joel's question helped us to. We have done it already, so you know it now. It's one of the dualist views that tries to suggest that there isn't a causation. So the problem doesn't exist. It's not a causation issue. It is at the occasion of a physical stimuli that God puts an accompanying what? Mental stimuli. So it is not an issue about how did it cause it. It didn't cause it. It's God that put it there. So it can even explain why sometimes the flower doesn't make you happy on Val's Day. Another time, the flower can say you are happy. You see the same flower, but the reaction is not the same because on the occasion of receiving that beautiful flower, the reaction is put there by God. It's not a causal one. It says occasionally. It's very easy, right? We can move on now. Now, what about the third one? Yeah, we are trotting. Pre-established harmony. The name is Leibniz, my dear lady. Okay, lie. I. So Leibniz says, and there again, Joel's questions that he asked when we set up was very beneficial to the class. Leibniz, I says what? It is not a causation issue, and it is not on the occasion of a physical stimuli that the mental one is placed there. The two are already arranged to what? Happen at the same time. So it is not one causing the other. It is just how God has arranged his world, for example. So when I give you a slap, you will cry. Maybe both of them are physical. No, when I give you a slap, you feel pain. So physical slap will generate mental pain. You know how to criticize that immediately. There are times people are slapped. They say, and you are slapped me again. That is foolish Johnny Bravo in his element. We did that in class. You see, one time you want to encourage someone, you tap the person at the back, go, 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 go. And the tap is interpreted by the person as an inspiration. Another time you say, go, 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 and the person thinks that you were rude to the person or you were too harsh. Why is it that if they are pre-established to harmoniously co-happen, so to speak, you don't always have the same reaction? I told you about the woman who is picking live charcoal because she wants to sell. She's picking it with her hands and putting it in there and say, fast, fast, come here, let's hurry up. And she's picking live charcoal with her bare hands. She doesn't feel the pain. Someone will say, oh, it's experience. Is it the same fire? Is it fire or it's not fire? It's fire. But another person is standing by there, or sometimes the same person takes the fire and she feels the burn. We're going to write an eye or something that is important to you, maybe election or something, I don't know. And something scratches you even at the trotro station. Maybe that was the last bus for the night. If you stay there, you won't get another. I said all this in class. Oh, I want you to remember for your eye. That's why I'm pointing out. You answer practical questions. Apply it. You apply them, both for your final exam and for your interim assessment. So I want to give you a lot of that. Sometimes you get a scratch and you didn't even feel the pain that came with it. You know why? Because you had to enter the bus or the trotro. It's getting late and it's not safe where you were. So when it came, you struggle. But when you sit, or sometimes when you come home and you are pouring water to bath, then you feel the pain and say, it looks like something scratched me yesterday. Do you know why I didn't feel it at that time? We are asking the pre-established harmony folks because the scratch should come with an accompanying pain, which you would feel under normal circumstances if you were there. Why is it that I didn't feel it? We are questioning the efficacy of that doctrine, pre-established harmony. If it is pre-established harmony, then wherever the pain comes, I must feel, wherever the scratch is, when I'm scratched or pinched or something, I must feel the accompanying pain, not once in a while, or not when I'm in the mood for feeling. Then it undermines the claim that they were pre-established. Then there's the double aspect theory by Spinoza. Those who did double aspect theory told us they posted it on the platform. It's from someone arguing that these are not two different entities. They're also trying to deal with the problem of mind and body. Spinoza says it's not two different entities. But what? But two aspects of the same thing. So the substance is one, a reality that we are unable to finish knowing it. Put God in that set. It can help you grab it easily. A reality who has two different aspects of itself, two different sides of the same coin. You pick the coin, you have picked the head and the tail. You can't have the head without the tail. Otherwise, you can't pick a coin. Just keep thinking around it that way. So he thinks mental phenomena and physical phenomena are just two aspects of one reality. Some of your colleagues that presented last week gave some nice examples. One said it's like watching a movie and it comes with the sights and the hearing at the same time, audiovisual. Okay. But I think that one, if I want, I can switch off. I can mute the sound and watch the so it's possible to have the head without the tail. But the coin captures it excellently. Okay, that is the double aspect theory. It means that it reduces reality to one substance, which we are unable to tell what it is really, metaphysics. Yet it has two aspects. Its aspects are what we can connect with, its mental state and its physical state. Mental phenomena and physical phenomena, therefore, are aspects of this reality that we are unable to explain fully. It means that reality may have different other aspects, several other aspects that we don't know. But the ones that we know are the mental state of it and the physical state of it. And that is the way human beings are mimicking this reality. Human beings are a photocopy of such a reality. So we are like that reality. We have mental state and physical state. We may have several other, aspects to our being that we haven't been exposed to. That's the double aspect theory. You know why I'm talking plenty? We've done all this. People just have to feel confident that they know it. Then there is the idealist view that I have already touched on. It is monists. It reduces reality to one, mono. But that reality is mind, spirit, spiritual. The non-physical is what is really there, says Berkeley. Then the materialist, I don't think Thomas Hobbes is a good example of the materialism he was projecting here is for something else. It's not for this one, it's for social and political philosophy. Okay, but just know the materialism proper. You can Google, if we Google now, we can get a good materialist. Most of them are the physicalists, most of them are materialists. Okay, materialists think that there is what ultimate reality. That reality is matter, body, material. Then there is the functionalists or disposition theorists who think that we don't have true substances. The problem is with the language of substance that Descartes and his official doctrine proponents use. This author, key among them is Gilbert Ryle. He's a linguist and a philosophical analyst, analytic thinker, one that is dealing with language. He's opening out language, like deductive logic, like element of formal logic, like linguistics. You are interested in the language that the official doctrine books are using. When they say there are two substances, you say, what is substance? Then you say substance is that which underlies it. But there is just a human person that we call mind. Listen, his book is called The Concept of Mind. Whose book? Gilbert Ryle's book. It's called what? The Concept of Mind. The idea of mind, what it means to say mind. It is the person, the human being standing there is what we describe as mind. And mind is just an encapsulation of everything about the person. From the physical body to what the person does, functions, and functionality, to the disposition, feeling pain, feeling angry, feeling anxious. These are we are disposed to feeling anxious, feeling angry, hungry. These are not another thing, state of being. It's not another part of us. So we are not two entities in one, having pain and another one hitting the leg against the table. He says, why? What is your problem? This is Gilbert. I think that we are confused. We're confusing what? The function of the body, the state of being of the body, the disposition of the body to be another entity. So if I feel pain from this, Gilbert Ryle is saying, if I feel pain, it's just my person, the body, feeling pain. Okay, it is not another part of this human person. That is not a soul that is accountable for the pain and the body accountable for the physical leg hitting. So he says, no, it's because we are looking for substance. What is substance? We have minds. And when we say mind, you're dealing with what? The body, its function, it's blah, blah, blah. So the concept of mind was meant to elaborate, to show, and he's doing that from what? An analytic point of view, analysis of what is happening. He gives a scenario. If you brought someone to the University of Ghana, and the person asks you, The person asks you, where is the library? The BAM library. You say, that is the BAM library. The person says, oh, where is the central cafeteria, your lecture hall? He said, that is it. Say, oh, really? And your administration, where is it? So at the top there. Say, oh, when you do graduation, what is the pass? This thing? Oh, it's for 3.75 and above, 3.6 and above, you get an A. But this is, oh, really? Oh, nice. Ah, okay. And where is, so the person keeps asking, you point to all of them. When the person finishes, he says, so where is the University of Ghana? You see that you are confused. Everything I've said, together with how we grade our lecture halls, the competencies of our lecturers and our students, what have you, all put together is what the university is. The university is a complex blend of all of these. It is not distinct from the individual things I've shown you. The individual things plus its functioning and its disposition. University of Ghana can award a degree to someone, honorary degree or what have you. University of Ghana can sack its student if it misbehaves. Its grading scale is this. The University of Ghana is a complex blend of the function and disposition and physical infrastructure and everything put together. That is what the University of Ghana is. It's not detached from the specific things I've shown you about it. So he thinks that if you keep asking what substance is accountable for mental state, that is what generates the problem. We don't have two substances. The thing substance itself is the problem. We have entities that have disposition and what functions. And so the language must be corrected and there will be no problem of mind and body at all. I think I did a good job at that. I'll share the same recording to the other groups, even if I meet them, so that we are fair. Okay, so look at the category mistake that Gilbert Ryle emphasizes there. He thinks we are confusing two categories of language. When you ask, where is the University of Ghana or what is mind, as if it is distinct from the very things that come together, all the physical plus functioning plus disposition, what have you, that comes together to form it. You are committing a category mistake. You are asking about University of Ghana as if it is a thing distinct from the particular buildings you've seen. The particular buildings, BAM Library, Lecture Hall, Philosophy Department, Classics Department, what have you that you are seeing, are seeable. When you ask where is the University of Ghana, or so where is the university? Not even University of Ghana. Then people will say, oh, the one at Legon. It will still be a locatable issue. When I say, so where is the university? The university is everything I've shown you. You can't ask about the university the way you ask about philosophy department or lecture hall, because these are two different categories. One is the expression of University of Ghana. The other is the entity personified. Everything encapsulates into what? The university. So you are asking for something in the way that with a language that belongs to another category. And that is what he thinks is happening. It's a correction you have to make in the language, and there will be no mind-body problem after all, says Gilbert Ryle. So he thinks it is a linguistic problem that if corrected, we won't have any problem at all. This is what I have summarized over there for you. Okay, yeah. This is the idealist view that you have seen now. It is monists. Now I understand monists. Mono from one. It thinks that there is only one reality, which is mind, mental, ideas, not two things. Now,
Hello,
let's
Doc.
add this and end. Yes, sir. Keep your hand up. I'll take all the questions. I want to end here. Is it Joel?
No, this is Frank.
Frank, go ahead. Go ahead.
Please,
I'm done. I'll end on this slide, so you finish. Yeah, go ahead.
I want to find out if Gilbert Ryle is a monist or a dualist.
What do you think? From what I have said, what do you think? Monism and dualism are dealing with reality, metaphysics, what really exists. He's a linguist. But if you want to put a coat of metaphysics on him, then he will likely be considered a monist. Just that his approach, let me go back to that slide. Just that his approach is not to tell you what really exists. He's not dealing with metaphysics. He's just concerned that if you use language well, we won't have this problem. So look at his thing. I'm projecting. Frank, please read this. Explore and examine responses.
All right. So explore and examine responses. Solving or nullifying the problem, giving a metaphysical response or approaching from an analytic, which is language perspective. Ryle's concern is with the substance talk. Gilbert Ryle thinks mind is not another thing or substance. Mind is a function or disposition of matter. So use the right language, ask the right question, and there won't be a mind-body problem after all.
Very
Challenges with
good.
responses given.
Very good. So the last bullet there is now the problems that we can have with all of them. I've done them concurrently. The problem with interactionism and what have you. So for Ryle, his focus is not on the metaphysics of it because he's a linguist. He's looking at the language itself. But we may listen to how he's arguing and say that then it suggests that he thinks there is actually just one entity which encompasses the functioning, the dispositions, the state of being, the physical, all of them put together is what university is. University is buildings plus, pedagogy plus students plus grading scale. And grading scale is not physically standing anywhere like the central cafeteria is. Yet it is part of what makes university. So if we say mind, it's a complex blend of all. So he was more concerned about the language that he thinks is the source of the problem. The language that says which substance accounts for pain or which substance accounts for anxiety, worry, feeling, consciousness. It is, why should you be looking for the substance responsible for being conscious beyond the physical body you are seeing there? It is the body that is conscious. Its consciousness shouldn't be called a thing. We shouldn't be looking for a thing that is conscious outside of the body. So you see that Gilbert Ryle is the one who teases Descartes by saying that Descartes is arguing for a ghost in the machine. He says, where is that ghost? Show us the ghost that is living in the machine. The human body is supposedly the machine in Descartes' language, and the ghost is the soul, creating a dualism so that the soul feels pain, the body is accountable for physical state, whilst the soul is accountable for mental state. He says this substance stock, this is Ryle now, it is this substance stock that is generating a so-called problem of how the soul, which is the ghost, causally influences the machine and how the machine causally influences the ghost. There isn't any ghost in any machine, says Ryle. So he addresses the language and not so much the metaphysics. But we can attribute metaphysical claims to him from the way he argues. That then it means there seems to be only one entity, and he might sound more physicalist than idealist. Does that help, Frank? Frank, does that help, please?
Yes, Doc. Thank you so much.
Yes, you are welcome. You are muted, so I didn't hear you earlier. Very good. I'll take the next question. Joe, I see your hand up. I'll take that shortly. Okay, let's finish. So this is the monist view that you now know very well. That you can account for, at least from our discussion so far, you know that occasionalism is not a monist view. Psychophysical parallelism is not a monist view. You can tell by now. They believe there's a duality, but not essentially distinct, not causally connected. Okay. Which other monist view can you mention? I want chorus answers. Any of the monist responses to the mind-body problem? Please unmute and tell me.
Behaviorism.
Behaviorism.
Yeah.
Very good.
Behaviorism.
Which other one?
Double aspect.
You can mention, even if,
Aspect theory.
Aspect theory.
very
Ideals.
good. Idealism, material. Well done.
Double aspect
That's my
theory.
very excellent. Well done, everyone.
Materialism.
Okay, I'll take, if it's a question, raise your hand, okay? Let me make sure I have covered everything because my questions are set. So note, we will delve into idealism proper, where we see John Locke, Bishop Berkeley's view. Like if I write W and you are standing at the stream and you see M, when I'm standing here, I'll see W and the implications, primary qualities, secondary qualities, and what have you. I want us to do that after your break. If we add that, I have a lot of questions to ask you, but I want to do it patiently and well, especially because you will what's the expression? You will extract this discussion for actual practical life scenarios for use. So I don't want to do just a short, otherwise would have been done in 20 minutes. But I want it to be useful for everyday life as much as God gives us grace to do. Okay, so we will engage that very well. That's the second half of these slides, you see. But for now, just note that the rationalist and the empiricist concerns is epistemological. It's a question of knowledge. Rationalism, empiricism. Why am I bringing it here? Because when we move to the next half, when we are dealing with idealism, some confuse the idealist contention with what? Empiricism. Idealism, materialism is confused. Though that contention is confused with rationalism, empiricism. So I wanted you to make a note of it. So look at it very well. Let me ask one of you to read again. Anyone to read for us quickly? Okay, so Sandra can do that. Josiah Agbo is there. Naphtali Ayiram. Okay, and Mercy Havo. Sandra, go ahead. Vashti
All right, thank you,
Ajinab.
Doc.
Yeah.
Okay. Note, rationalists and empiricists answer the question of knowledge. How do we know? Idealists and materialists answer the question of metaphysics. What really exists? Do you see why a philosopher can be an idealist and yet rationalist? Others idealist yet empiricist.
Very good. Very important. Don't let the list become plenty. Yay, what is all this list? Listen, relax. You know from level 100 that a rationalist and empiricist, these two are arguing about the source of knowledge. Where do we get our knowledge from? The source. Do you see that? Is it from seeing, hearing, touching, tasting, or smelling? Then it's empiricist source. Is it from the pure reflection or ideas of our mind? Then it is rationalist. So they are interested, those two are talking about the source of knowledge. When we look at the second two that we have been introduced to in this course, they are idealists and materialists. They are not talking about how do we know or how do we source our knowledge or what is the source of our knowledge. They are talking about what really exists, metaphysics, existence. What exists, the thing that exists, is it spiritual or physical? In other words, is it material or mental? Is the reality the idea of the building in the draftman's mind, the architect's mind? Is that the real thing that will now take on material form? Or the reality is the material thing? Can you have the material? I'm talking about the style of the dress itself, the style of the building. If you have not already created it in your mind, the idealist says it's a lie. You have to have it really existing in your mind before it starts what? Materializing. It is what is in your mind that you start putting on the ground. So you do a foundation here. Look at our interchanges. You have a creation in mind. The reality is mind. Then you start building. You get the material for it, physical material, I mean. Then you say, okay, here we'll put the kitchen. Here will be the hall. Here will be here I'll use this material. I'll buy ceramics. I'll mix this with touch. I'll do it this way. It has to have been a creation. The idea is a real, says idealist. See that they are not crazy? Unless someone hasn't explained what they are saying. We can still have issues with it, but you have to know what the person is saying. Don't presume that this is what the person said and make it look like it's stupid. No, you have to hear the person. So the idealist view is reality is what? Spiritual, mind, ideas, non-physical. All these are interchangeable words. We already know that. Whilst the materialist thing, no. Reality is not ideas. It's material extension. Okay, the two of them are dealing with metaphysics. It's not the same as rationalists, empiricists. They are dealing with what? Epistemology, knowledge. Yep. So it is possible to have an idealist when it comes to the person's metaphysics. He's an idealist. Yet the approach or the source for getting this idea is what? Rationalist. Then you can have an idealist, meaning what? The person thinks what is really there is mind, ideas. The idea, remember the architect all the time, or the tailor. That's the idea of the dress in their mind. He's now going to get fabric and creatively use the idea to bring it to another form. So the reality is the idea. Always have that in mind. Okay. Now you can have such an idealist who thinks that the source of the idea that I have is the empirical. Really? Yes. That is what is contentious. It's difficult to grab. An empiricist, that means when it comes to the source of knowledge, they think we get it through the senses. Yet the reality of it is not physical. You saw the thing from the physical, yet the reality is not physical. We have such people. Look at my next slide, everyone. We are finishing now. We're done with the mop-up nicely. Look on your screen. All these people can be labeled with idealism. The one that is not a very consistent one, which we'll see later, is John Locke. Because he wants to have the idealist position that reality is not physical. Yet when he's arguing in a way that allows for a reality outside of the mind. We'll see him later. But Plato and Berkeley, you can look at them very well. Keep looking, or you need it. These are all labeled as ideals. John Locke is heavily influenced by Descartes. Descartes, who believes in a duality, too. He's heavily influenced by him. The only thing I think they disagree on is the source of knowledge. Whereas John Locke thinks we source knowledge from experience. Descartes thinks we source knowledge from where? All of us.
The mind.
The mind. I hope. Hey, I heard only one person's voice. Or you are.
The mind.
The mind.
The
Think.
mind.
The mind. I am.
The intellect.
If you remember, thank you very much. Cogito ergo sum, if you remember. Okay, we did that. So Descartes is rationalist. It's not doubtful. You can't. He wasn't even sure if his physical hands exist. If he's looking for certainty proper, we know that. So if you are heavily influenced by Descartes, Cartesian thinking, and you take from the person everything, every baggage he brought, that is Locke now, but you only say the source is the empirical. How do you consistently become an idealist? We'll query that. Is the second half of this content that you will do when you return from your Christmas break. Next week is then after that, I think we are on break. Then when you return, after eating all the chicken and what have you, we'll mop up and continue from there. But take note. So John Locke will be the inconsistent one. But Bishop Berkeley is idealists and also empiricists. Plato is idealist but rationalist. Being idealist and rationalist seems like, oh, that's okay. See, it's not too problematic because you say you source for reality from what? A mental source, mind. And then you also think that what is real is mental. So it looks like that one doesn't create too much friction. But where you are an empiricist, George Berkeley, it means you use the five senses to source for knowledge. Yet you say what you know really, reality is what? Ideas is where there is a leap. There's a problem of representation and what have you, which we will engage. Maybe you want your eyes to look. So you see, we'll see the objective idealist, subjective idealist, and what have you. But all of these, I don't intend to ask you in the IA. You will definitely do a lot of that in the final exam. So remember, what have we done? We mopped up mind-body problem. We saw what the problem itself is, the official doctrine that generates it. We saw several ways of distinguishing mind from body. and subjectivity and intentionality and consciousness and stuff like that, all depicting mental states that are not physical. We saw responses by authors. We saw Gilbert Ryle's category mistake and how he thinks that if the language changes, we won't have a problem. So the problem will disappear. We saw the idealist that reduces everything to mind and its ideas. We saw materialists that reduce everything to matter. So they think that there is only one and they are all monists. And then we saw some dualists who think that, yes, there's dualism, but it's not causation, it's just correlation, you know. And we can give several examples of that. We have seen some idealist thinkers and how to distinguish idealism, materialism from rationalism, empiricism. Now, in our revision, you notice that we touched on the account concept of a person again, which we've done over and over again, okay? And we touched on a bit of the personal identity because we reminded ourselves of essentialism. What is essential when we're trying to see mind versus distinguish mind versus from body? We saw that it is essential characteristics. It's the same question we ask when we are trying to determine who a person is. And we know what John Locke says, the 3 categories he gives, and we know the possible responses and criticisms we can raise against that, even though we also know that the bodily view may be more problematic than the Lockean one. And so what's the answer? Do we choose any? We are unable to tell with precision because it is not mathematics. I've already over elaborated. I've helped you remember that it's a philosophical problem, but we are minded when we think that we are certain about a person's sameness. We may not always be right. We may be assuming more than we are entitled to. And we may be more concerned, and we should perhaps be more concerned about how to determine if it's the same person. So you see on your screen the things that we have done just to help you feel confident. See, and what have you. Then the personal identity one follows right after that. That one is who is a person and not what is a person. The value for everyday life is there. Let's see. See the problem, the twofold nature of the problem. We have done this. See why we cannot trust so much the bodily view. Look on your screen, the tiger. All these ones, we saw them. Tarosky. Why we are, it is an essentialist doctrine if you're looking for that. And the non-essential features like your name, your color, and what have you, the body criterion and its challenges. Can we always rely on the unique body? So this, okay. Sameness, perhaps, but are we able to tell difference all the time? Okay, and that is it for the personal identity one. Then the initial discussion we had is what? Free will versus determinism, one of the easiest of all the discussions because it is homey because it comes to us easily, I think. Are we free or causally conditioned to act the way we did? Do we have a choice, etc., etc.? If we choose freely, can we be held accountable? What about the hard determinist claim? What about the soft determinist? Is psychological determinism necessarily determinism, or it reduces one into the other? And what about the notion of regret? Is predeterminism exactly the same as determinism? Is it fatalistic? You have to remember all those discussions and the problematic implications for moral responsibility, especially. That is the context of our discussion. Okay, to be able to do those. I think that we can say that we have covered good grounds. I am done. Some short answers, some MCQs, some fill in the gaps for your IE, 20 marks. Definitely no essays, but you will have some short answers, fill in the gaps, and then MCQs. And it won't exceed 40 minutes, maybe even 30, but at most 40 minutes you'll be done. Please, I am done with our revision. Any questions? Is there any question? Please, next week is the IA date. Mercy, how about ask your question very quickly? I will stop the recording though. Thank you. Mercy, you are muted, so you may want to unmute first.